Good day, folks. Dan here with another episode of the Noahide Input. And today is September 20th, which is our print determination deadline set for the NAN magazine, North America Noahide. And I want to bring you up to speed, reinstate the vision for this magazine. Folks, we've done this magazine. It's just a beautiful looking magazine. But the vision and the support that we're getting from many rabbis, I'm having the wonderful opportunity to meet many more rabbis. They're showing their interest and their excitement to see Noahide in North America step forward, share their stories, and to begin to tell who they are and what they're doing in their community to reach out to others and make the world a better place, which is what the call for B'nai Noach is. Now, to reestablish the vision for this, I mean, my whole purpose of starting this was to put a positive face on B'nai Noach, that people could hold their heads high and say, yeah, I'm involved with this, and this is what I'm about, and it's linked with the Hebrew people and the Jewish roots, and this is what the rabbis teach, and this is how it's beginning to influence us, and we're working hard at making our communities a better place and the whole world a better place based on the call of God to them as a nation. Now, more than that, I wanted to showcase what a lot of B'nai Noach ministries were doing. I mean, we've had wonderful articles from Nativ. We've had wonderful articles from Tanakh Talk. We got to meet Mr. Mustache, who is just going forward, folks. I'd love to encourage you to support those people. But more than that, the NAN magazine was also started to focus on community and hopefully let people know that there are other B'nai Noach near them. There are Noahides in their area, maybe within several hundred kilometers or miles, and that connections would begin to form. So, it's a big task, and yet the joy that I have received from support, emotional support from rabbis, to me is just dear. But to make this work, this is not an easy task. And I know that I have spent hundreds of hours on this magazine, and those that wrote the articles for it, I know spent hundreds of hours combined to put this together so that we could make it work. Now, I wanted you to understand where I was coming from and where I was going with this to just let you understand the costs involved and the things involved to make this actually come about. Now, I wanted to go with 2,000 print copies because my way of thinking is even if X only got sold, a bundle more of them would be out there and it would begin to influence with the wonderful stories that are in it by the wonderful people that are in it. And to give you an idea, here's some of the costs if somebody was to just even print 100 copies. 100 copies at the lowest possible price on a print company on the internet here in North America is almost $9 a copy. Now, there's taxes involved and there's shipping involved on top of that, so that raises the price even more. And so 100 copies becomes really unviable. Nobody will want to pay for it at that price. And it's definitely not easily shared because of the cost and the expense. But as you start to look and the prices go up, 150, 200, 250, 300, 400, 500, once you reach 1,000 all the way down here, you can see the price goes down, to over 220, only 220 a magazine. But when you hit 2,000, it looks like it's only $1.65 a magazine. But when you add the taxes and the shipping involved, okay, it's around $2 a magazine, but more than that, there's lawful licensing that has to be involved, and barcoding, which is expensive to set up at first, and more than that, barcoding, there's postage, and in order to qualify for bulk postal rates, in order to be able to mail them out to people at a reasonable ticket, okay, to where it's viable, you actually have to commit to 2 editions and prepay an X amount up front in order to qualify, or you're not going to get bulk postal rates. How could you be a bulk postal rate? You get the same standard rates, and even you could get small business rates, but even small business rates aren't viable. Nobody's going to pay $10 to ship a $10 magazine. It just doesn't make sense. But my hope and my dream was to see hundreds and hundreds of these just handed out, that conversations would begin, that communities would begin to grow, that more people would get involved. And you could see that when you add in just the licensing and other basic expenses, it would have been about around $7,000 to really start the whole thing off. Now, I put aside a line of credit in order to cope and deal with this, but it really comes down to support to make it all happen. And, to just be clear on the numbers, I want you to know, beyond doing advertisings and promotions for the last several weeks, and some talk shows to try to drum up interest, and all the buzz that has gone around. I spent a lot of time coding together pages and everything on my website in order to make it viable so people could click if they had interest in many different things like partners and bulk purchase buying and digital subscription supports and single paper edition. I set up all these pages and everything necessary to make it work, to try to see if we can make this launch and make it work. And the number of partner requests I got were 0. The number of bulk purchase requests I got were 0. The number of digital subscription support I got was 0. The number of single paper orders I got was 0. And the number of annual paper subscriptions was 1. I got one person subscribed for an annual paper subscription. And, the average person would take that quite hard as a big punch in the gut and it'd keel right over. But in reality, I got to be honest, we did have several people step up and donate. We did receive $497 in donations. I blurred out their names because I don't think people want to know or want others to know who gave what. But the point of the matter is, this is all the donations that I received going right back to September 1st when the launch date happened. And I want you to know that the majority of this donation came from overseas, with the largest portion coming from an Arab nation. Now, I don't know what that says about us here in North America, but we stepped forward and we're great at putting on a show. And we did put on a wonderful magazine. And it makes me say to myself, is this something I believe in? Is this something that we believe in? I've already got, rabbis set up to do a couple of articles for the second edition. And I've already got a few people that are eager to do articles for the second edition. But I gotta say that the print determination, if I had went and dropped the $7,000 to make it work, I would have ended up with a room full of magazines and maybe sent a couple hundred over to Israel and maybe a few hundred around in my area. I've got support with one lady in my region who's willing to step up and buy some, and I'm thankful for all that. But the print determination after 3 weeks of launching the magazine is a no. I got to call it what it is. It wouldn't be a wise business decision at this point. But I don't want you to think I did all this work as a business decision. And I know that people in North America have been bitten before about people trying to make things work. But my job is to try to make it clear and make sure that as a Noahide, we have the Sheva Mitzvot, and one of them is not to steal. And that's why I wanted to put up the PayPal donations, because if anybody feels in any way, shape, or form that they have donated amiss and they want a refund, I'd be glad to refund, because I've already refunded the person who made the annual paper subscription. And, being a B'nai Noach, it's about being honest and truthful and being open and being positive to make it work. And I am still not swayed by the results, because the reality of the matter is that we've had a huge amount of clicks on this magazine digitally. The majority of people, I'd say about 46% of the people, have been viewing it on cell phones, and it's not the ideal device to read a magazine, but you can zoom in and view it and read it. But there has been several hundred highly engaged readers for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours reading the magazine. And for their sakes, for those that are actually reading the magazine, I'd love to keep producing and do a second edition, but a print publication at this time would just be an instant loss, an unnecessary loss. And, I've had honestly, I've had Christians, laughing at me over the matter, calling it fruitless. And the one phrase that just shocked me, I got from a former Christian associate, was it's a self-destructing path that God didn't bless. And I just have to stand up against this and say, no, Torah is true. And there's no fabrication. The Hebrew people have been sharing what God has shared with them for 3,500 years, and the call to be Noahide for those of the 70 nations is true. And I know a lot of eyes have looked at this magazine from overseas. I just have not received the support or interest here in North America to make it viable at this time. Now we can, if we do 3-4 editions, that can always be combined into a book. Not a problem. I mean, even the donations we have now almost make enough to publish a book and make that available online. I still could make this edition a print on demand, but then somebody would be paying like $30 for a magazine to get it shipped to their door, which I don't think is viable when we can get it for as low as $2 a magazine. If we just went with a couple thousand, it would allow for people to actually hand them out and share them and just say, hey, here's my article, or more than that, hey, this is what I'm a part of. And there's some wonderful people from all over North America and beyond that are eager to learn about Torah from Jewish roots, from the learned rabbis. And I get excited and overjoyed at the potential for explosion for B'nai Noach here in North America and the world. And we know the Hebrew nation, especially with Rosh Hashanah approaching, we know that they're called to share the light of Torah. And I believe that this venue, NAN Magazine, is a winning venue. I don't want to say it's a slow starter because of the hundreds of people that have tuned in to read it. But we know that if in today's day and age with just like social media broadcasts, somebody can go viral and easily get thousands upon thousands of views. And, a magazine takes a little more reading. And but more than that, we're not going after the numbers per se as much as the potential of a positive face for Noahide and the connections of community. And we'd really hope that you want to continue with this, folks. So I would love to go ahead and do a second edition to have ready for December. If some people are interested in posting articles, please contact me, Facebook message me, or email me. You know where to contact me. I'll post links. But on the bright side, with this magazine, some of the shortfalls that were given, especially I always look for rabbinical insight and what people have asked for. I have produced a new edition that's exact same, but downloadable. And I want you to know that the reason the first edition was not downloadable was because it's the only way I can track the honest and know the stats to see if it was viable, or else I would have just spent the money. And my wife, who still attends a Christian church, she would have just really turned on me hard for having, north of 1,000 magazines laying around as if it's a fruitless venture. But I know it's not, because of the interest and the joy with which people have shared the articles, and the joy with which people are eager and willing to be a part of this. I've got several that are still willing, and we can grow it if it's digital. There's no limit in the size. So we can increase the size if more people want to get on board and have an article published in this. But I need you to step forward and give me a dingle and talk to me and let me know. But it's my responsibility as an honest man to give you this print determination. And I don't want you to look at it as a negative. I want you to look at it as a realistic a mental decision that perhaps we as Noahides could step forward and support a lot more Noahide ventures. Okay, like I know Tanakh Talk, you guys can step up and support Tanakh Talk more. They could really use it, plus many others that are out there. And we want to show you more as time progresses. We had articles from all around North America. I've got others that from even further and other places that want to take part in this. And it's my joy to be able to put it together, but it comes with connections with yourself and sharing those connections with others. And the results so far have been great. People that have done several broadcasts have made connections with others that do broadcasts, and connections and bonds have been built. And more than that, they're shining light, and they're doing it with joy and eagerness to let the light of Torah shine, and their lives are fulfilled in the journey. But to make this work, you need to understand the numbers, and you need to understand the support. And once again, anybody who's donated, if you're not content and you think you donated in vain, please let me know. I'll be glad to refund it right away. I mean, I'm not here to take your money. I'm here to help produce something that actually kickstarts B'nai Noach into being more communal rather than just online presence. And the online presence, is dear. And I don't know if any of you guys know recently a lady who wrote an article on page 34 in the magazine. Nancy Todd Overall had passed away earlier this week. She's a very dear lady who had been pouring out her life for the last number of years. Wrote a wonderful article where everybody knows your name, and she had her thumb on the pulse of what was really going on. Read her article. I'll tell you, she called it exactly like it is, and now she's gone home to be with Hashem, and she will be dearly missed. But somebody's got to step up and fill that role, and there's plenty of opportunity for joy and excitement as a B'nai Noach. And learning from some of these wonderful rabbis. I am just overjoyed, even with the NAN magazine page. We had Rav Dror from Muncie, New York, step up and be part of the NAN Facebook page, and even Rabbi Tovia Singer. Many others I've contacted, and they believe in the magazine solely because of its potential to be passed around. And if it goes to print, it gets out there in a bigger presence, where it gives it a degree of validity. We know our validity is with Hashem and with our walk with Hashem, and as He shines lights in our lives, in our hearts, and illuminates our understanding to walk in a more healthy way, we understand that is who we are. But we can shine the light of Torah as well, and NAN magazine is intended to share that positive face. So please, give me some encouragement to do this second edition. Step forward and say, Dan, I got an idea for an article, and let's talk about it for briefly. And you know what? If it's good, I'll give you a couple of pages. Boom, we'll make it happen. I do have to spend hundreds of hours to put it all together, lay it out. Good quality photos cannot be undone, folks. Most people, for this first edition, I had to do hours and hours and hours of upscaling because people weren't providing photos. They said, oh, here's one, and it's only something that's been passed around online, and people don't realize there is a major difference between 300 dots per inch on a print resolution versus, say, 72 dots or 96 dpi on most online, and it's done that way so that you can view it faster. And I'm committed to doing what's necessary to make this a better magazine going forward. And don't write this off, because, if we get the support for the second edition, we can always publish it too, because we need to have two in order to qualify for bulk mailing discounts. So I don't want to say that the groundwork hasn't been laid. We've done some great work to this point. We produced a magazine. A lot of people are overjoyed. I know eyes were looking at this from all over, and I just hope that you'll keep the excitement going. Give me some feedback, but I got to be straightforward as a logical and rational person that the print determination is not at this time. And it's sad, but it's not sad, because the stats, the rabbis are asking me, well, how many this, how many that, what about this, what about that? And the reality of the matter is, it gives us an understanding of the pulse, and I really think that B'nai Noach can step up and support more B'nai Noach outreach in order for the communities to tighten. You want to see these communities grow. Yes, you do it with your own life, but we can't be so focused on our own individual growth, which of course we have to be, at the expense of things not changing. If you just step up and support things like Tanakh Talk, like Mr. Mustache. This guy's doing these paint seminars. He was just in Austin, Texas doing. These are people that are actually out there in their community doing positive work, putting smiles on people's faces. bringing the light of Torah into their lives and bringing joy. And this is what truly loving Hashem does. And I really hope that you'll continue to support this. Give me some feedback, folks. Tell me what you think. It means a lot to me. I'd love to keep doing it. I have the time, or I'll find the time if I got to stay up late to make the second edition happen. I want to do it, but I need the support to do it. I need the interest to do it. And I believe that we can grow it. And for the sake of those several hundred deep readers, I'm willing to go forward with it. Okay. I'm not going to be swayed by a lack of financial support. I'm not going to be swayed by the comments and wisecracks from other idolatrous religions and things like that. I'm going to go forward because Hashem has birthed us to shine this light, and I'm excited to meet the people I have met, to meet the B'nai Noach in Florida, in Texas, in California, in Arizona, in Washington, in Pennsylvania, in New York State, in Kentucky, in Tennessee. They're all over, folks. Others in Alaska. They're everywhere in North America. We've got some great and wonderful things to share, and I really would hope that you step forward, consider supporting this. You can always go to my website, godovertime.com. You want to make a donation, but I'm not doing this for the donation. I'm doing this to make this vision happen. And like I said, if anybody who has given a donation to this point feels that they gave it in the hopes that it was going to go to print, and if you want a refund, just send me a message. I'll refund it instantly. I'm not here to take your money. I'm here to make this happen. It would be wrong of me at this time to spend $7,000 and when I only have one annual paper subscription confirmed, and we've produced it. It's beautiful, and I will post the link below for the edition that you can download. And I believe that maybe some people, we might have had a little more growth if it was downloadable in the last few weeks. But the point of the matter is, it's the only way I've been able to track the stats, and I needed to know the stats, or else I would have been instantly out thousands. But we can keep this going, and we can grow this, and we can help make the connections of B'nai Noach here in North America and beyond. The world is watching. So, till next time, folks, Dan out. Blessings to you all. And please contact me and tell me what you think, and we'll go from there, folks. Bye for now.